One of the must-have items in all our makeup bags is a beauty blender. What did we do before beauty blenders? This woman created a category, invented a tool that is used everywhere. She's a boss. She owns 100% of her company. The founder, CEO, and creator of the beauty blender joins me today on Unfluenced. Let's get into it. First of all, I just want to say something because we're on for a couple of things. One, you're my first guest on this podcast, and I am going to tell you the story of why I did it because it pertains to you and your business. So, as someone who invented the Skinnygirl, no, I invented the skinny margarita, like as a concept in the world. I called it Skinnygirl, but I invented the skinny margarita. And obviously it's been copied ad nauseum in every bar in the world, all over the world, do they say skinny margarita. Like I had been talking about like, I sort of de-influence. I'm like, this is garbage. This is shit. Like, I'm sure you've heard about like the way that I'll talk about some things, not everything, but like if it's really a Gucci $175 palette that looks like Claire's Chiclets, like I'm going to say in a diaper pouch, I'm going to say it. So this girl, like I saw this girl being like, hi, de-influence podcast or something. Like, I don't remember what it was, but I saw somebody was doing a podcast about not de-influencing and it was annoying. Because I kind of started this on TikTok. I mean, other people have been doing it on YouTube. I didn't invent it, but in a loud kind of way, in the modern kind of way, post-mascara gate, which I've talked about on here. And I was like, how am I not doing this? Like, how am I not doing this so I decided and literally called my producers and I'm like, we need to do a de-influencing podcast. And then I was like, I should have people in the beauty industry. And I'm thinking of that right now because you, invented something that is so copied and it's so annoying. It must be so annoying. That's my story. So that's why I invented.
I love it. I love it. I mean,
yeah.
I see you like and I think you see me too. And I appreciate that. And yes, it's fucking annoying.
It's fucking annoying. And most people think that a beauty blender is like saying a Band-Aid, which is an adhesive bandage. And so they're calling everything a beauty blender. And I just know what it's like to be a female entrepreneur having invented something. And so I can imagine that is annoying. So we'll get into that. But I just have to say that as a baseline. And I was like, when I think of the beauty blender, it's an item. And I remember like it coming into the world. And I definitely learned how to do my makeup barely in the last year. So I wasn't the customer for it.
By the way, you do it very well, I have to say.
I did okay?
You do. You're amazing. I watch your de-influencing videos, Instagram. I'm a fan.
Thank you. I'll tell you the thing is, well, I know you're a makeup artist and we're going to get into introducing you and all that, but sometimes I get into like the main act before the foreplay. The thing is that I have a lot of respect for what you do. And I don't say that to so many people. Like, I honestly see how it's hard what you do. Like, it's hard to do makeup because I'm okay like doing it like this for today. And the thing I realize is that particularly with the eyeshadow, which is to me the most confusing and the most over marketed because there are 10,000 colors and they all look good. You need one blush palette and you could never need another. You could use that for every eyeshadow look your whole life. So you're sort of just doing it to do it. It's like I could buy basil, I could buy cilantro, I could buy parsley, dill, tarragon, like throw it in the goddamn chicken. It's all going to work. So with the eyeshadow, I realize it doesn't really matter. Like you could use wrong tones. Like we're not warm or not cool. You should learn that. But I've realized like you could play around and you don't have to follow like the darker crease or you don't have to follow all the rules. But it is hard because the game starts moving fast when you have to get ready in like an hour for something because you learned some of the steps and there are so many things for each step and you really just don't know which step you should take. And sometimes you burn the sauce and like you got to go back and like take off and you don't know whether to start over and throw the batch out. And you get caught up like I forget to put mascara on because I've been doing other things and it takes too long. And then like I rush that and I never have ever gotten to the time where I would like be able to put lashes on. So the game starts moving fast when you're doing makeup. And I have a lot of respect because I could do it for like the podcast and it will take 20 minutes, but like an event for red carpet or even just to go out, I find it to be anxiety producing.
I think, you know, makeup companies and technology have advanced in a way that make it really easy for a consumer to just feel better, look better, do easy breezy, beautiful, looks. Where it gets more complicated for a makeup artist is the venue, right? I mean,
Yes.
you've been on TV shows, you've been, in different lighting setups and different, real eye to eye, in person versus on film and camera with, there's levels.
Well, there are levels, and when you walk outside, it looks very different than when you're going to be on TV on HD, than when you're on a red carpet. So, and sometimes I'll do my own makeup and then I'll see a picture of myself like just in Florida with Paul because I tried so hard and I look better with less makeup, but it's like fun. And now I learned, so I want to try. And then I'll look like older and just like ashy or whatever. The powder's very tricky. I just find that makeup is much harder if you're not just doing daytime natural with SPF and a little rosy glow. Like it's really, it is art.
It is an art.
It
It
is
is.
art.
It is.
So I
That's
give you a
funny.
lot of credit because so when I used to, when I started on TV, I had no money. I was broke. So I used to go up to the makeup counter at Bloomingdale's and like just buy, how much do I have to buy just for you to do my makeup? Like that was my thing. Every time I was on the Housewives for the first couple of seasons, every time I went somewhere, not for the regular show, I just didn't do makeup. But if I went to like something that was out major, the reunion or something, I would just go to the counter. And I would book a morning show in Miami, some local show, and I would just use whoever they gave me. And I never really looked at myself because I always assumed when I was younger that like anybody you use, it's going to look good because you're getting your makeup professionally done. And that's like saying any restaurant I go to is going to be good.
Because they're
And
cooking for me.
exactly. And I was in Miami one time and I never look at myself. I'm not vain. So I was in Miami one time and the girl just did my makeup, no problem. And I was at the pool later and the publicist that was with me was like, she's like, I don't know. You might want to like change. It's a lot. And I looked up and my eye had like purple triangles on it, like a navel paint. It was Miami makeup, like with reckless abandon and no guidelines. And I rarely have a professional do it and have it be great. Like it's maybe, and I mean like a
Well, there's
$1,000.
also alignment, right? There's alignment. So that sounds like you were at the mercy of what someone else thought looked good, right? So it's not only technical, knowing where and when and how and what's appropriate for whatever setting you're in, but then what is that person's idea of beauty? And are you aligned with that? Do they think purple triangles on your eye is like the coolest, chicest thing? But that may not be who you are. So
Well,
how
but
do you align?
that's interesting about alignment, but I also think that it's about using the same written down recipe that you've printed out to cook that you now haven't like figured out with this person's wide jaw. People have to know their own things that work. Like I know things that really have not worked. And I always ask different makeup artists, like one time I had a guy X off with tape, like the ones on the eyeshadow palette I should really stay away from and on the blush. Cause I don't know. It's all just colors and yeah. So anyway, I find it hard. So, okay. So welcome to Just Be Influenced. This is a podcast about this business that I totally accidentally walked into, not realizing what room I was walking into, not realizing the utter clutter, lying, filtering, and confusion that I was walking into, the liberation of learning how to do your own makeup and knowing anything, the great credibility of many people in this space, like the good business that it is, despite it being so cutthroat and people making billions of dollars. Like I found that versus other industries, the people are pretty fair, like that you're working with. So I think that's something you should know because you're only in this one industry, I think. And I was watching a video and a person was talking about you, like doing a video about you. Like I didn't know that you were a person, you're a sponge, there's a pink sponge. It just God invented it. And so this woman was talking about the inventor of the beauty blender. And I thought, oh, that's a good guest for Just Be Influenced because you've had such influence and you've been so copied. And now I read about you and found out that you are a makeup artist. That was like a big deal. And I read that you were using this, you cut your own sponge with rounded ends, which is not unlike Spanx when she cut off the end of pantyhose. And you invented what you needed to do your craft and make and create an airbrush look. So that's where I'm coming in to you with this. And you did not sell it to another company. You own the company.
I still own the company. And let me just say this, Bethenny, it's so surreal for me to be sitting here talking to you because I look at you in the same way. When I think of anything skinny, with the word skinny in front of it, I always think of Bethenny Frankel because I do know that you created the low calorie margarita that we all want. We all don't want the high calorie, high sugar margarita. And you started it. And I always felt aligned with you because I do recognize how many companies, bars, individuals have taken that term and really just genericized it, right? Mm-hmm. Like Beauty Blender. Mm-hmm. So I feel like there's a sisterhood here. I don't know.
Fact. I invented something for the same reason, to solve a problem that was annoying me when I went out and had drink. Yeah. So there is an alignment here. And what an amazing accomplishment for you to have invented like a star tool. And you know what? Listen, Steve Jobs has been copied. Everyone's been copied. Like, it's happened. It's big girl panty time. It happened. It happens. You're not going to be. But I found the business of it and the patent. So they wouldn't give you a patent. You tried endlessly, right?
Yeah. Of course. And people always are so amazed and feel like maybe I just wasn't, as business savvy as I should have been or something. But, it's a funny thing about patents. It's not easy to get a patent because at this point in our evolution as human beings, almost everything has been created. Like it's very hard. Yeah, it's very hard to get a patent. So yes, I tried for many years to get a patent for Beauty Blender. There were conflicts that kept coming up and it really, there are general conflicts. And then it also depends on the person that is working at the patent office, the patent officer that's understanding your product. So I went through the process several times trying to get somebody to really understand that, yes, there is an ear cleaner that has a foam egg-shaped tip, but it's a very different industry, different use type of product. And the funny thing about patents is you can keep applying every time you've been rejected, but every time you apply, it costs more and more and more. And
you were starting a business.
Yeah. And at some point I had to recognize my product was starting to be recognized amongst pros, and it was starting to get some brand acknowledgement and brand equity in that way. So I figured, let me just lay my head low. Let me just keep trying to distribute to the makeup artists that I know are going to have the same challenges I had. Like you and your skinny company, you created it out of a need. You wanted your own personal way to enjoy a drink and not have so many calories, right? For me, it was the same. I was a makeup artist, department heading a show, one of the first ones shot in high definition. And it was an experiment. And it worked for TV. And I knew there were going to be other makeup artists that were going to appreciate this, invention. But I never thought, I never really thought about it being a consumer product. And then, here we are 20 years later.
What time, how much lead time did you have from these pink sponges being out in the streets before everybody was copying you, like something else was on the market?
Yeah, so I had a good couple years, Bethenny, which was very helpful because it was a very kind of like a cult product that only makeup artists would use. So you would see it, backstage at Fashion Week, you would see it on makeup counters. There was a lot of education that came along with it that was required to make the consumer understand and like, listen, you'll spend $50 on a makeup brush, but you want this product to be disposable and free because that's the way it's been marketed to you. Cosmetic companies would always put like a sponge applicator in a compact, or if you even bought like a high-end concealer or a high-end,
Yeah.
foundation, they would give you a little sponge, but they never told you what to do with it, how to
Yeah.
clean it, what it's for, whatever. So it was a very known product, but it was also known to be disposable because there was a replenishment, philosophy with it for businesses. So
I
you
have
use
an
it once, you
idea for
throw it
you that I
away.
think we should do a collab on. I just thought of it right now. So we'll tell you after. Remind me.
Let's do it. I'm
Okay.
open. I want collabs.
So the thing is that so I'm on Beauty Talk and everyone there like knows what they're doing and knows what they're talking about and speaks the same language, but I really speak the language of the woman who doesn't know. And I will tell you that I have a drawer full of sponges and it's the same thing. The game starts moving too quickly and I use my brush and then I sometimes forget how to use the sponges and I don't always use it in the beginning, and I see some people using it for different things and I like brushes too. And what I use the beauty blender for me is what I use a kitchen sponge for, cleaning up messes. Like today, I put on the Rare Beauty blush, which I think is overrated because it's very influenced, and it goes on with one dot and you look like a freaking clown. So that's where the beauty blender comes in because a brush isn't going to do that. You've got a beauty blender and like it makes it look normal. So for me,
Brushes are like little brooms. Okay, they sweep product on. I'm teaching you, Bethany, because you are a
yeah,
self-proclaimed novice, right, or
yeah,
amateur.
yeah,
So
no, I get it.
brushes are like little brooms. There's a learning curve. You have to learn how to hold the brush to feel comfortable. Then you have to learn how to blend with the brush. And then there's fibers that are like little broom sweeps, right? So you're kind of
Yeah.
moving the product around on the surface of the skin. So there's a whole like learning curve there. The beauty of Beauty Blender is if you can bounce it on your face, it just applies and deposits and blends the makeup with each bounce. Now,
And also
it
pulls what
is
you need off when you need it.
it's an amazing finisher to that point. Like after you're done with your makeup, take your damp beauty blender and just kind of go all over your face and make sure everything is blended in so you don't have any lines of demarcation, meaning makeup. It like makeup that screams makeup is when you see the line of demarcation. So it just blends everything, it erases everything. And listen,
Okay,
makeup artistry is an art and people do different things with it. I can tell you the best way to use it, but at the end of the day, I know people are going to do what they do.
well, I think for my people, you could travel and have only a couple of sponges in a little travel thing that breathes and not have to carry all the brushes. Like you could get away with that, just like you could also get away with just your fingers, by the way, with for
Mhm.
many things, but harder. And
And
I
dirty
think
and
and dirty.
printy,
I think that it's
blotchy.
yeah, like for the person who doesn't know how to use it that well, I think it's good when you've screwed up or you want to, like you said, blend. Is that the best? If you had if you had to say the best use for the beauty blender, what is it for? The number one best use for it.
The number one best use for it is to get a professional looking makeup application the very first time you use it without
No, but I'm
having
saying, is
any
it to
learning
put the
curve.
foundation on, or is it at the end to do the finishing you just said? Because for me, it feels like
Oh my God.
finishing.
So that's really tough because it's a multitasker. It's good at both. It's it's good at putting it on, it's good at taking it off. It just depends on what your need is. You can go in and over apply makeup and put too much on. Like you said, the little dot was very concentrated pigment. And
Yeah.
then you can use a beauty blender, blend it around, and then take it off. The thing about fingers is fingers leave streaks and fingerprints and
Yeah, I don't
blotchiness.
use fingers. I was just saying,
Yeah.
like, it's a tool,
Yeah. And then brushes are strokes. So I will tell you that beauty blender takes the place of probably like 4 different brushes. It can be your powder, it can be your foundation, it can be your concealer, it can be your blush, it could be your finisher. The thing it doesn't do your liner, it doesn't do your eyeshadow, it's not going to do
Right.
your brows, it's not going to do, well, it can do your lips a little bit, but
Right.
there's limitations. I'm a makeup artist, I love brushes, but I see real value in minimizing the kind of products that I need to personally carry. I travel all over the place. I literally have like 3 brushes and 2 beauty blenders, and that's all I need.
And now, how often do you clean them? Use a sponge today to do your makeup. My process would be the following. I wouldn't have the time today to do like the full clean, which I sometimes do in the microwave. I don't know if that's wrong, but with baking soda, I want it to be
Gary, you're
perfect.
a brave one. Okay.
It becomes completely clean with my baking soda and like a little bit of vinegar and water, like a dash, and it's water, and you put it in hot, and it becomes immaculate. My housekeeper taught me that. And I don't know where
I
she saw
love it.
that, but because under the sink squeezing it, it never gets everything out, even with brush cleaner. So you have to clean it properly. But like, what do you suggest for cleaning every day, and how often, and when you travel, and that kind of stuff? Like, you bring one away, it's in your bag.
This is my process, and again, I had to give up trying to control everybody because I know people do what they do, right? So I can
Okay.
only tell you what works for me. So
Okay.
what I do, and the way I invented it to be used, is that you always use a beauty blender wet. You use it damp, so you
I
don't use
agree.
it dry.
Right.
So I have these nests, I call them nests, little holders for your beauty blender. I
Yep.
put it on my bathroom sink next to my toothbrush. So when I brush my teeth in the morning before I do my makeup, it's sitting there. I will get it wet, clean it 2 seconds before I'm going to use it with the soap that's right there next to my toothpaste, and squeeze it out, towel dry it, and do my makeup. When I'm done, I sit it right there again. I don't touch it again until I brush my teeth again, or I'll brush my teeth at night, but the next morning when I brush my teeth, then I wash it again. So it's just a reminder. It's like when you brush your teeth, clean your blender.
And
And
then when
so
do
it
you do the
happens
deep
every day.
clean?
Hmm?
When do you do the
Deep
deep
clean?
clean?
Well, I do a deep clean when I need to. I mean, my
Okay.
makeup generally comes out. I have a technique of rolling the blender when I wash it too, between my hands like this. And
Okay.
that tends to somehow mush. And I know that's a very scientific term, but
Yes.
it's like it spreads the soap
Got it.
around and allows
Diffuses
everything
it.
to get everywhere and rinse out. So
Okay. And then when do you how many uses until really somebody should get rid of it?
I think it really depends on how much and how often that person wears makeup. Not everybody wears makeup every day.
Not at
And then
all.
there's
Yeah.
people like me who, at the time when I was working as a makeup artist, I might use the same sponge 10 times on the same person for continuity and different scenes or whatever, and be washing it 10 times more. So it really just
Okay.
depends. I like to say, when your sponge starts to get a little more textured, when your beauty blender might start to rip or tear, because some people aren't always very gentle with it. But I'm also coming out, I have a new invention that I'm coming out with that's going to make it really super practical and easy for everyone to wash not only their beauty blenders, but I have this other thing called Power Pocket Puff that's really good.
Okay,
So
good. I can't
that
wait.
that'll be a good way for people to keep their tools clean.
I think your cream bronzer is very nice. Like, it's very, like, the ones that I've liked are Mario because it's creamy. I like Chanel. Like, your cream bronzer is it's very, very nice. I have to say, it's
Thank
very
you.
creamy. It's got
I
that.
really appreciate that. And it's the first pH one. And it's pH. Do you know it customizes to your own pH
I don't think I knew that.
slightly?
It's very
Ah,
nice. It's very
thank
nice.
you.
It only comes with the highlighter, or you have it alone.
No, it only comes with a highlighter.
Okay, got it. So it's interesting. I often think I watch influencers talking about dupes and talking about Elf, which is the copy product of the Charlotte Tilbury, and then it's the spongies that I think Charlotte Tilbury invented. And like, in other worlds, if you walk outside and everybody thinks you have a fake bag, they're gonna, like, mock you or say it's so, like, and Hermes would be very annoyed if I was, like, out talking about I have a relationship with Hermes. I buy things there. If I were talking about my fake bag, they wouldn't want, me to have the real bags. And it feels like certain people are paid by Charlotte Tilbury, and then they're paid by Elf, and they talk about the Charlotte Tilbury one, and then there's the Shape Tape knockoff, and, like, everybody copies everybody, and everybody's, like, okay with it in a way, and, like, it seems unethical, and I never use the word dupe, like, ever, because I don't like that word, because it means, like, we're buying cheap shit knockoff. Even if it's not, that's a retraction. It's not cheap shit knockoff. I don't know Charlotte Tilbury, and I think a lot of her stuff I don't like, but a lot of it I love, but I respect that she invented a lot of stuff. Like, she created a lot of stuff. And so it bothers me when everyone's out here just trying to get the cheapest thing to copy the person. It's cringe to me. And no one really talks about that. Like, in any
Mm.
other space, it's not elevated to be the knockoff person, and everybody just wants. And so I battle back and forth because sometimes there's something that I find that's inexpensive and I happen to like it better than the expensive thing. And I don't think that just because some company did a pink blush, it means they copied this other person. But like when it's the spongy thing, like that's a knockoff. Didn't Charlotte Tilbury invent that?
The pom-pom?
Yeah, that little thing.
Yeah, I don't know that she invented it, but she chose it to be the applicator for her highlighters and the different products that she uses them for. And
The tube
because
with the
of this,
pom-pom thing.
yeah, the success of her business made it, linked with her. And, that happens too. You don't necessarily, like in that case, I know for a fact she did not create that. That pom-pom
She didn't
was
create the
actually
squeeze with the pom-pom?
the pom-pom applicator was actually in response to a beauty blender. So beauty blender was the first rounded.
Shots. I'm
Yeah,
sick now.
it,
Wait a minute. That pom-pom. Oh, it makes sense.
now it was in response, but beauty blender being the first rounded sponge applicator kind of opened the minds of a lot of product developers that actually were ethical. Okay. They didn't want to copy Beauty Blender, but how do you take this concept and multiply it and, put it out in other application aspects of beauty? Because we were dealing completely with just complexion. So they took that idea and built a rounded edgeless sponge applicator and stuck it on a tube where you could flow the product through the pom-pom, but still get that edgeless, seam free, no line of demarcation application with your product. And I'm not saying I invented it. That's not it. It's the concept, the idea of seamless application was kind of.
And Maybelline with the sponge tip and all interesting.
They were, if you look at historically the things that had been marketed before Beauty Blender, none of them were doing it.
That's fascinating, and I don't think anyone knows that, which is amazing.
Well, you kind of have to be the annoyed inventor to pay attention.
Okay, so how much of the business do you own? Are you allowed to say?
I'm 100% owner of Beauty Blender.
You own 100%. So has it made you very, very wealthy? Can I ask that?
I do okay, full transparency. I'm a makeup artist, learning to be a business person. I've spent a lot of money. I've made a lot of money. I've made really good decisions. I've made bad decisions. It's all a part of the stew or the fabric of where I am today. I live a comfortable life. I feel very fortunate, very blessed. I don't take it for granted. I still own my business 100%. I don't know if I'm smart or stupid.
No, I know. Have you've been offered to be bought?
Oh yeah, all the time.
And what was the reason for not doing it to have your first pile?
I was making a lot of money. I mean, I didn't need an infusion of cash.
Fair.
And also what I didn't want was complication in the business, because when you bring in an investor, as far as I know, and I talk to my friends about this that take money and have investors come in, suddenly there's a whole group of people telling you what you need to be doing.
You have a master. You have a new master.
It's a complication. So, I just feel like I had a vision for Beauty Blender. I knew what I wanted to do. And so I didn't need anybody to help me with that vision. I needed experts and people to work with me to make those ideas and those dreams and things that I wanted to make happen. But that didn't necessarily mean I needed to sell my business to do it.
I'm good friends with Mark Cuban, who did say to me, like, what do if you don't need the money, you don't take the money. So Mark Cuban would agree with you.
I still feel today that, Beauty Blender uniquely positioned me to be able to take the opportunity to create complexion products that work perfectly with the perfect complexion tool.
Fact.
So,
Truth.
So that's the path, Bethenny. That's
so
the path
true.
we take. And if I have a global business of selling, 17 sponges a minute around the world, and if I can get one person to try my makeup, it's a success,
Yes. And you have
around the world.
the street cred already, which I understand too. We have a lot of similarities.
Not every product is a home run, but it's a supporting cast. So
Exactly.
you build the portfolio, you take the chances on products that you believe in. And me having the background and expertise as a complexion expert and working with people of color and skins for over 20 years gives me the credibility to be able to
Totally.
make great formulations. So, the formulations stand the test of time if you have the correct avenue to be able to market and distribute them so that you can tell your story and get the education out. The formula stands.
And you have good
The
relationships.
thing is, what I love about what you are doing is that you are level setting everything. So when you go to TJ Maxx or you go to Sephora or you go to Bergdorf's and you go buy these different products that come in different packages and different price ranges, and you're able to say, oh, this mass market is on the level of Bergdorf. I'm not going to say brands or whatever, but that goes to show you now that formulation is no longer exclusive to the amount of money you charge for the product, right?
Right.
So you have to have some other benefit. That's why makeup artists that start makeup brands a lot of times don't become successful, because a blush is a blush is a blush, a lip is a lip is a lip. Who needs 10,000 eyeshadow palettes when you don't even go through one in your whole lifetime?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
It's like, it's excessive.
Thank you. It is, and it's exactly. But who needs 10,000 pairs of shoes? And we're having fun, so you have to just know where you stand in it and why you're doing it.
Those are different segments of society, right? Some people are collectors, some people are realists, some people are economists. And there's different people that have different tastes. What I hope I'm catering to is a person that understands that my products work together to give you, to your point, a very simple and easy corrective or beautiful kind of result to make you a better you. And yes, it is a very competitive category that I've entered, but I also feel confident that I have the expertise myself as an expert, knowing formulation, knowing what I need to make.
And the distribution and the relationships. Like
my friend Mario, Mario and I are pretty close. And, but also, you're as good as your team. I have a very talented team, which is why Beauty Blender has remained the number one tool in the world and the original category creator product that allows me to have a voice and permission to go into this category.
I root for the makeup artist brands, and I also root for the big brands only because I know that they've got the research and development money to spend, to really make sure that mascara is good. So I'm rooting for different people at the same time. I'm not like rooting for, very rich celebrities to walk in and slap their name on. And I think it's enough. And I think people are going to get caught. And we've seen that. Like, it's the pyramid scam where you want to get out the top, and some people are getting caught in the middle because everybody thinks they're a celebrity. They're going to just do a beauty brand. And I don't feel that I would feel like an imposter, and like there's no room for me, and nobody needs me in this space. Like, as a consultant.
But I will just say this about you. I think what you bring to the table is what people really want. So when I say things are cyclical, I mean, just look, we went from, magazine advertising being millions of dollars to have a page in Vogue, right? To advertise L'Oreal, Lancome, whatever it is, right? And makeup artists died to do those campaigns, by the way. So I paid big attention to them because I did those. So, you go from spending tons of money in that kind of medium when magazines were the advertising, venue of choice, let's say. Then you got away from it. Nobody believed in celebrities endorsing a brand anymore because they knew they were just getting paid. So that's when the influencer became popular. Then the influencers became paid and untrusted because the consumers knew that the influencers were getting paid. So what they
don't
were saying,
really, though, by the way.
Was it real? I mean,
no. Hold on. We have to do that because that's what this podcast is about. When people are watching TikTok, They do not really realize that they are being sold and that people are filtered and that these are commercials. It is a 24-hour-a-day commercial network, and that's why I walked into this space, and that's why I'm doing this. Because back in the old days, it was these messages were brought to you by, and then it's the Super Bowl, and you watch the commercial, and you kind of still have an idea, and you might be entertained during that commercial, but you still have an idea that you're being sold a car. And then it became integrations onto television shows where someone's holding something and there's a payment, and they don't even have to really disclose that they're holding a Coca-Cola. And now my moms do not realize how sold they're starting to know. And that's why Mascara Gate was so big, because that was the first time they were like, what the fuck? This is really a mascara commercial in a magazine that people have fake lashes. So
there's an evolution within this category. Okay. We went from, paid advertising in magazines where celebrities were being used as the face of.
Yes.
Then we go to influencers,
yep.
where those influencers now are being rotated. We have the macro influencers, and now we have the micro influencers.
Right.
We have the ones that are well-known and super well-known. I think people know, I think there is a segment of society that actually understands these people are getting paid to sponsor a product. I believe on TikTok, because it's one of the newer mediums, the newer platforms that people, and because the demographic is younger too, I believe that there is a little bit of naivete there. They don't quite get it yet, but it's a 24-hour commercial. You're absolutely right. But what the ultimate question of why I think you're so valuable is because what you're doing and what people want is they just want authenticity. They want the truth. And what you do is you debunk it.
Yeah, but it's so hard. I was going to say to you, so a couple of things.
And you're brave to do it.
Well, I've alienated so many people and I don't care. So, because it's true. No, they're not paying me. So, so a couple of things. One, it used to be that a celebrity would never stand at a party holding alcohol, ever. The publicist, put your drink down, because it's addiction and all that stuff.
Before cell phones, they used to all the
before
time.
Skinnygirl. For Skinnygirl, they wouldn't be photographed. They would never allow it in a photograph. So then my deal was so public because of Forbes. Then everybody jumped into the category. Nicki Minaj, Pauly D, George Clooney, Randy Gerber. Okay, ran into liquor. And it's the same thing because they saw the paycheck. I've had Justin Timberlake's manager. Justin Timberlake came in. Charlie Sheen's manager was like, he keeps saying to me, I want that Skinnygirl money. Everyone's managers was saying, we want that Skinnygirl money. Okay, put that to the side. The Avaline and the two girls with the wines, all of it is because of Skinnygirl. So we're speaking the same language, right? Same thing. Then I go into Sephora. Okay, well, I never go. I don't like going in there because it's just overpriced and I don't need anything in there and you can get it all and it's making me want new things and it's stupid to me. But anyway, so I go into Sephora and it's the Hunger Games. It is a zoo. And the girl says to me, I've worked here for 8 years, the girl that I work with, it's never been like it is right now. She says, because of TikTok. It's never been like it's been right now. I've worked here for 8 years for this company. Okay. Now my daughter watches me, sees me. She's very smart, whatever. She wants the Benetton, not the Essence tint that is better and more blendable and lighter and not such a clown face that I was even influenced. And I even get influenced by the Meredith Duxbury and the Michaela. And I know they're being paid and I've used the product and I got rid of it and I want it back. I want it back because I'm watching them. So there's no shot for these kids because I am doing this and I still believe them, but I don't believe them, but I know they're paid, but I still want it. And my daughter, she doesn't want the beauty pie or the tarp shaped tape. She wants the Charlotte Tilbury one. She wants the Rare Beauty one. She looks like a clown. She wants to contour. She doesn't even know what contouring is. I'm like, do you know what contouring is? I don't know. I'm like, Bryn, you're 13. You don't need contour. So the influence is strong.
It's real.
It's intense.
Real.
I'm saying it's not commercials. It's rabid. It's money. It's crazy. And that's why I walked in. Because I thought all my makeup that I've had that people gave me is shit. I need this thing. I need this glow. I am 52 years old. I didn't know they were filtered. I didn't know that the people, the Meredith, the Michaela, I didn't know they were filtered.
When I say everybody, I'm actually talking about a segment of society like yourself that knows they're being sold to, but wants it anyway. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So that's
Right.
what
That
I'm
knows an
talking
Hermes
about.
bag cannot possibly
Yeah.
cost
When
$50,000
I
to make a
say
crocodile
everybody
bag. Yeah.
knows, I mean a segment of people that understand that that's a paid person. And it's usually, like a Meredith or a Michaela, somebody that has some sort of character, beauty, personality, something that resonates with the consumer, that attracts people, that they want to watch them.
It's the price of
They want to
admission.
watch them.
You walked into
Yeah.
Vegas, you're going to lose money, which is what Sephora is. It's Atlantic City.
But it's
You
the
decide,
lights and the
yeah,
sounds and everything. Yeah.
yeah, you're 100% right. Um, and I think that walking into this being a wealthy woman who has other businesses that is not in this space and doesn't need to be and would never screw up my whole apple cart for lying about a lip gloss. But if a brand wants to use my content, they're going to pay me. And I won't say anything that I don't actually love because I don't need to. And we've proven that I've alienated so many brands from what I've said that I'm not looking for business. I mean, if I get it, fantastic. Big brands have reached out to me. And if I love them, yeah, I would do something. But I think that walking in agnostic and a person who can afford to buy the drugstore or the expensive, it's been a unique position that I just wandered into, and I'm fascinated by your business and I'm fascinated by you, which is why you're the first person I've had on. And I do think that no one can speak to the beauty industry like to a beauty product and what people need to wear over the day and all that, like a makeup artist. So we shouldn't be investing as much in celebrity brands, in my personal
But what
opinion.
is a makeup artist these days? When you talk about quality products and why companies that are the bigger companies like the Estee Lauders, the L'Oreals, the LVMH, how they can, buy smaller brands, bring them under their umbrella, continue to keep hopefully the brand DNA going. But at the same time, they, as you know, they buy products or brands rather in every demographic. So that's why now we have mass market products that
Yep.
have formulations like high-end prestige products because the owners
Like
are going to
L'Oreal
the
and
same
Lancome.
places. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think one of the things about dupes and copycats is, there's trade dress issues. Like what I find egregious right now is you mentioned Elf, which actually I kind of respect Elf more than some of these other companies that are coming out because they created their own brand and then they just copied individual products and put it in their brand.
But by the way, it's funny you say that because I don't mind if someone gets inspired by something but does it in their own way. And that Elf thing that they did with that liquid, I'm having her on. I think that's another guest, the CEO. That Elf Halo Glow filter or whatever it is to copy the Charlotte Tilbury thing. It's a great container and it's a great foot and it's like feels substantial and like it's exciting. And so like, okay, you can't hate the player, hate the game. So I agree with you. And everybody's good at something else. They're not good at eyeshadow.
I read an article this last week in the trades. There's, the demographic of like, let's say millennials or Gen Z that don't really care if someone has infringed a trade dress issue.
Like if I were a big brand and I had any power, I wouldn't want to work with Michaela if she's working with Charlotte Tilbury and then going to talk about the Tarte Shea Tape in the exact same way, like that spongy thing. Like I would feel like, wait a minute, you're pitching the knockoffs? I'm giving you an Hermes deal and you're pitching Hermes knockoff? Like I'd be annoyed. Like you could talk about a different product, but not that one. And there's no, but the biggest thing I want to say to you is that I watched Rihanna do a touch up on stage. And I watch J-Lo come in and she wants so badly to get that Rihanna money and that Kylie money. And they all are so hungry for that big beauty money. They have all run in and it's so obvious. And the only one that's really been able to land it, Kylie landed, but it seems like they're having some struggles. I don't know if that's totally sustainable. And she has a different audience. And Fenty has totally landed it. And Selena has nailed it. They're going to make real big money. I don't know how many more are going to. Gaga is doing a decent job at it too, but I feel like hers is a slightly more authentic, and I can't figure out why than like people just running in for the money. But everybody's managers are telling them, go get that beauty money. Rihanna, we're going to do the Super Bowl only if you're allowed to take all your influencers on a trip, get them tickets, because they're going to sell us $100 million in beauty products after that weekend. And you're going to touch yourself up on that stage, even though you're 8 months pregnant. It's too bad. You're going to print money and never have to work for the rest of your life and your kids' lives. Like that, I see it. And that people don't see. That people do not see. They just don't make that connection, and they don't make the connection.
They don't look at it from that back door of business. They
No.
look at forward facing, oh, it's so cool.
No, and they also, TikTok and social media doesn't look at, we don't like Mascara Gate and that she wore fake lashes. And so, but what we're going to do is nonstop talk about it and get them 55 million views and make them more money. Like they think they're talking negatively about something that's making them more money. They think they talk about
it's an old Hollywood adage. Yes. Good press, bad press accomplishes the same thing. Awareness is awareness.
In this space, it does. They could talk bad about a Tarte influencer trip and they're going to buy the Tarte stuff. So I'll probably have someone on from Tarte and all these brands. And I think this is going to be a good conversation. I really do. Like this was a very good conversation. Like I realize there's a lot to talk about here that's relatable to everyone, from business to just a woman putting her makeup on.
Yeah, I would love to talk to you. I find you so smart, Bethenny. I watched you. I watched you for many years, and I'm very admirable about the humanitarian stuff that you do too.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
Thank you.
You've used your voice to help people, which I really appreciate.
Well, just know that I am by no means an expert, and you are an expert, and you have created something that changed an industry. And I don't know anything about the trades, and I don't know anything about who owns what company. Like someone said on a TikTok that Lancome owns NYX, and or my comments, because I worked with one of them and the other, and they were like, oh, I guess, because I really don't know like insider stuff, and I don't want to, because then I would be like inside. I like being out here kind of just only talking about what I observe, if that makes any sense. Like this is all just stuff that I'm telling you that I've learned from observing. I don't know the inside baseball about any of this.
Yeah, but your intuition is spot on.
You think I know a decent amount about what I'm talking about, like with all this stuff?
I mean, if you haven't learned, if you have avoided learning and you still profess the things you profess, I would say, yes, your intuition is very good.
Great, because I respect you and your art a lot and your business also. So you are like, you are smart, you are kind, you own 100%. And you invented it, so you're probably a triple threat. So it's exciting to watch what you do next. Honestly, it's really, really, really admirable.
Move to an island and live in a hut somewhere, probably.
But you won't need any makeup. You can make a mattress out of your sponges. You won't need any makeup. Amazing. Well, I appreciate the amazing, heated, awesome conversation. I got so excited. It's like, no one to talk. I have no one to talk about this. That's why I needed to do this podcast. And I was talking. I was really exasperated, excited, because I don't have anyone to talk about this, because my friends don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. And I'm in this world of social media. It's like a planet and then beauty in that planet. It's like a little town in that planet. So no one knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's a very powerful little planet.
Totally.
Very influential. You know what though, too? I have to just tell you, I was last night, I had a crazy day yesterday, and so I knew we were going to talk today. So I wanted to listen to your podcast, just like the last couple ones. Like I had listened to your podcast before, but honestly, I don't have a lot of time, right?
Right,
so
I believe you.
I was like, let me just I want to be prepared for her. I like her so much, and I have to say, you were cracking me the fuck up with Bryn's sports adventures and motherhood, because I have 2 kids that played sports, and you're so spot on with the fucking snacks and the parents and the I'm not good enough, and trying to do things in the summer.
I had to catch up. I'm catching up now. Yeah, no, it's a shit show, and I've won. You were amazing. We now know each other. Keep in touch with me if you want to talk about anything. I'm here, and I'm fascinated, and I got to try the rest.
Listen, I'm open to collaborations right now. It's one of our initiatives for 23-24.
Great. Okay,
if you're serious about it, I mean, we can talk and not talk about that too.
Awesome. Nice to talk to you. Thank you so much. This is a great launch for this show.
Oh my God, thank you.
First guest. Amazing.
Thank you so much. It was
You're
so
welcome.
great to meet you. And I'm so honored to be your first guest.
I'm honored too. It's perfect. You blend in perfectly.
Bye, Bethenny. Have a great
Bye.
week.
Thanks.
Bye.
This is a good podcast. I'm so excited. She was amazing. And like, I don't know what I thought I was going to talk about. I thought it was going to be like a short, this is like a second podcast to another podcast. So I thought that was going to be like just like a short thing to have something to talk about in this podcast because I'm talking to that was amazing. This could be a good podcast. Like, that was an interesting, fiery, passionate conversation with a woman who invented the beauty blender. Like, she's a legit, influenced beauty guest. I feel so major right now. I'm excited.